my peeps that had my back when I was going in and out of court. But of course, a shout out to all my people who kept the game alive instead of killing it, selling out with weak flows. My crew, anyone that gave an honest point of view. Much respect besides me, man. I do this shit for you, yeah, for you. Overpasses, some choose to overlook it. They should be looking past it. We hope for classics, we over you whack masters. Soul suspects, man, we fall from the average. People try to act like they shit don't stink. They'll be up shit's creek, plus their ship's gon' sink. Now they knee deep in bullshit with nothing to think. On the brink of dealing with the most unpleasant of things. Time switch up, find ways to humble your strut. Just when you was thinking you was the next runner up, shit out of luck, yo, it's just the way it goes. I ain't gotta stress the rest, all you already know. From a distance, street lights start to filter in. Home from a round trip, had to visit new lands. Back in the building again, back to building with fans. Spaced out, sleep deprived, staring at the ceiling fan. So many things that they said to us when we was kids, but it was all bullshit. Yeah, open up your eyes. They would try to tell us one thing, then say the next thing. So I say, never listen to the lies. Man, everyone's a critic. Just spit it how you live, it's how it's meant to be intended. So open up your eyes. It's all part of the game, ain't nothing but a dang dog. So I say, learn to read between. Yo, you going at it all wrong, so open your eyes. Yo, them cats be living life like they got 9 lives, so don't try. I hit very hard for my size 6'2", a little over 185, so get it right. They tough talk is filled with fallacies. Believe none of what you hear and only half of what you see. So please, they can go and try to play the road as positive, but either way they talk with it, we know when they prerogative. Even if they polish up their image with some party tracks, we see through the lies, we ain't even need a polygraph. This is passion, the vibe is everlasting. It's better than the last one and colder than the aspens. Used to be overreacting, now I'm overreacting. Now I'm pissed off, I'm mad at me and I'm over here laughing. Shit is crazy, ain't it? The game is crazy, taint it. But I'ma do my thing and stay crazy fade. So many things that they said to us when we was kids, but it was all bullshit. Yeah, open up your eyes. They would try to tell us one thing, then say the next thing. So I say, never listen to the lies. Man, everyone's a critic. Just spit it how you live, it's how it's meant to be intended. So open up your eyes. It's all part of the game, ain't nothing but a dang dog. So I say, learn to read between the lines. After midnight, when the sun goes down, the moon's up. Some of the best time to make music, so turn it up. Turn it up like the levels on my MP. Sound banks always got samples to say, they never empty. Dusty vinyl drums with the clicks and pops. 99-cent records. Mom and pop shops got 99-cent records, but a bitch ain't one. Music's kinda like my lady, so I treat her like one. Different than bitches I know that be scheming with no heart. Feel peace among the night, been that way from the start. Putting beats in when other peeps are sleeping. Mixing frequent, till I'm reaching endless hours of the evening. Can't take breaks for long, music's calling my name. Ain't nothing better than making beats at night in the rain. Write on notebooks like graffiti writers, ride on trains. Rhymes I fill them in like fat cats, can backtrack my game.
Midnight, the stars are shining for you.
It's me and you, me and you.
The moonlight, my heart is asking for
yeah. Yo, I can tell by the look in your face just how you feel. feel. Shadows wrap around the building like my hand around a pan. When you hear this, hope you feel like you found a gem. Hope you feel like the stars are shining for you. When you rhyme, take the time to pay respect to the legends around before you. Chilling in the moonlight, way above 2 flights of stairs. Bitch cats be getting the cold stare. When I'm writing, focused in my chair, totally aware. The energy they put out, but I really don't care. I keep them my own while they got some secrets on the phone. Hey, and guess you know it, so I tend to leave it all alone. Catch me late night, writing up in my book of thoughts and making beats. You don't fall from a rookie with my chops. Me and homies used to wild out, booking from the cops. Cause a riot like a bunch of dudes looting through the shop. It's crazy how we all grown up, times change.
Happy Monday, folks. We're here. A little bit late getting started today, but such is the game. Welcome, welcome. I hope everyone's Monday is going well. I have an idea that I want to try today, and we're going to see how it's going to go. So to make sure I'm not pissing off the gods, I'm going to open myself a little good lunchtime beer. And try to make something. Vlad, what's going on, buddy? Glad to have you here as per usual. I do appreciate it. Let's see. We got an hour. I'm going to try to make something. Happy Monday indeed. I think it's going to be a good week. At least, you know, on the inside. Maybe not with the world outside. But, Milan, what's going on, buddy? Let me see. So, I have an idea for today. And here's what it is. We mentioned the other day that one of my guys that I've been looking at a lot is this guy, Joseph Zabukvik, watercolorist out of somewhere in Europe. I'm not sure where. And I've always done sketches that are either like straight sketches, or if I'm making like a 3D sketch, I still take the time to kind of build out the entire thing. Today I'm going to try and blend the two, kind of similar to what I unintentionally did back with the that like farmhouse image. And I'm thinking about kind of 3 things. This is a picture I took in Venice last year, I think. This is Santa Maria della Salute. It's one of my favorite things. This is something that Joseph Zabukvik has painted. Done a very beautiful job, though a little darker than I'm kind of picturing in my head. And then this is a really cool, this is Mario Bucci, who has a digital painting YouTube channel that I really like, especially right at this moment. And so kind of drawing from all 3 of them, and there's nothing in the chat, in the description right now, because it's not really planned today. And I just kind of thought of this a couple of minutes ago. But I'll put it in afterwards. So if you're watching this on record, it'll be there. But so I'm kind of taking some inspiration from this painting, and this photograph that I took a little while ago. And instead of starting with the sketch for a composition, I'm going to start in 3D, but I'm not going to get anywhere near finished. I'm just going to try and kind of rough some things into a place that I like, and then I'm going to try to paint it. I'm going to try to do it all in an hour. So we're going to see. So, you know, clock's ticking. Let's get rolling. What's going on, Daniel? Thank you for being here, my friend. I appreciate it. So this is just the Kit Bash Victorian kit. But it has some architecture, at least for those domes, that I think will work. And let's see, while I'm kind of organizing my thoughts here, let's get a frame buffer up and going. I haven't opened this kit. Oh, I have my Cintiq on, and so all of the palettes are over there. That's going to be fun today. I haven't actually rendered this kit. Is there any atmosphere in this kit right now? There's not. Okay. So we're going to have to set some things up. There should at least be some kind of lighting in this scene, and we can set up the other tweaks real quick. And like I said, we're going to keep 3D super rough today. So the idea is to make like a composite sketch using both. That would be better than I could do in an hour if I did either one individually. That's the thought or idea. I'm not sure. But I thought it'd be fun. So let's get a frame buffer up and going so that we can kind of at least take a look at what this looks like to begin with. While I kind of gather my thoughts of how I'm going to approach this thing. How are you guys doing in the chat? While this is loading up and I'm kind of gathering my thoughts. I hope everyone's doing well. Enjoying Mondays. Oh, wow. Okay, so we got a lot of stuff to add. That's okay. There's at least the light already in here. Obviously, we have textures already in here. I have not used this kit from its raw form in a while. That's good to know. There you go, Daniel. And here, I'll entertain you, hopefully, at least a little bit, whilst you're eating your lunch. All right, let's turn off shadows. We know we're going to need this building. We're going to need maybe all three of those. We'll probably need, which one has like kind of the most varied roofs? Maybe these three. And let's go back to our kind of reference photo. That's our reference photo. I think we can probably make it do. Let's maybe grab these two. I think that's probably all we're going to need for this. And, oh dear Lord, is this going to go down there every time? Oh, ho, ho, ho. Okay, we need to make you small, but not minimize you. Duly noted, Cintiq. Duly noted. You've bested me again. Okay, actually, we can just put this on the other screen. Alright, so. We don't really need those right now, but we might want them later, so we're not going to delete them. We're going to throw them into... And come back to my screen. We're going to throw that into just a blank layer, and we're going to say hide. Boop. Hide them. Luca, what's going on, my man? Clark, good to see you. We're doing a composite sketch today, if you guys missed the beginning there, where I'm going to start in 3D and finish in 2D, hopefully within an hour, as opposed to just doing one or actually really working this out. Okay, so we're going to need a ground plane. Come over here. Come over here. Okay, we're going to need a ground plane, and that's going to be water. We're not even going to bother naming it because there's only going to be one thing. It's going to be a little bit reflective. Not 1,000 IOR reflective. Let's go with maybe 2 for now. We're going to put some noise into that, but we'll deal with that later. Let's start setting up a camera. What should we do this in? I feel like maybe we'll go square for this guy. Why not? Pretty comfortable in square, and it works well on screens for you guys to see and me to actually be able to work. So let's go ahead and, you know, this already kind of has those things. Let's just set up a camera, something like this. Doop-a-doo. Nope, nope, nope. Something like this. And let's grab that, and let's pull that up there, and let's start building this composition. Oh, this is crazy. Okay, so that's our kind of guy here that kind of looks like something. So this needs to get bigger and closer. We're gonna have to chop that up. There's nothing sticking out over there, and this is kind of on an arc. We're trying to get all those kind of maybe kind of in there, but we'll see. I don't think we need any of the bottom of this. I think actually it's going to get in our way. So let's delete it. My goal here is to work even messier than I normally do, basically. With the intention of just creating something that is good enough to paint over. Which in some ways makes a lot of sense, right? Like, if you have assets of the things that you want to be doing, I'm just going to try to kind of get that into the size that I feel it should be in. If you have assets for what you're going to be doing, trying to draw these types of things, at least for someone like me, is a lot of work and a lot of effort. So if we can use 3D to kind of get all of our perspective and whatnot to right, or at least roughly right, then we're kind of like halfway there without having to do anything. And so that's kind of my thinking. All right, let's let 3D do a lot of the really hard work, and the stuff that tends to take forever in 3D, which at least in my book is like, okay, let's get all the little docks in there and gondolas and all that kind of stuff. You can suggest in like quick paintings pretty quickly. One thing that I already don't quite like Where do I want the horizon to be in this image? I feel like I want it to go up. I think this guy I want to get bigger. Maybe not quite that massive, but it's pretty huge relative to the other things. And I don't need to stay like completely true to the Venice sketch, the Venice photo. I'm not trying to like recreate Venice here, but I am trying to at least kind of get the idea of that, maybe in a slightly fantasy setting. But I think we want to go down to something, and I think we want to go up with our perspective. What length is this camera right now? 45 degrees, that's what, something like a 50 millimeter. I think something like that could be nice. I feel like we want these guys in the foreground to kind of come a bit more this way. And at least appear continuous or contiguous. It's all about appearances. This is going to be a sloppy one. I like it. And this, we'll probably keep the two-dome idea. Which other ones we got over here? Let's move these two guys and put them over on this side. All right, something peeking out this way, just starting to. Maybe right up, all the way up here. A little bit of a challenge. Let's move them down so that we can't see them. We're not going to worry, obviously, about fixing street lamps and stuff because those are quick to paint out. That composition does not feel balanced at all. So let's maybe move it this way a little bit. Just a little bit. That feels a bit nicer if it comes down. I kind of like that kind of general arc. Something like that. And something like that. That could be cool. Let's put in something peeking out here over on the side. Maybe something like that. So this will all be reflective, which I think will be cool. And then I think what we want to do is maybe move this guy over just a little bit. Let's go back to our reference guy, little guy, big guy. So let's take this guy, make him a little bit smaller. Pull him down, something like this. And then we will copy him and make him bigger. Copy it so that I can delete out these ones without deleting the originals. Okay. You cannot see the full screen. Luca, thank you for being on top of it. Let me see if I can fix that quickly. Let's see here. Oh, yeah. You are absolutely right. Okay, this is going to be a little weird for a second, but let's see how quickly I can get it figured out. Boop-a-doop-doop-doo. The aspect ratio is going to cut off the bottom of this screen, but at very least we should be able to get it to the point where you can see the full thing. Okay. That's a little bit better, yes? I've done nothing fancy as far as Mac stuffs, but yes, Luca, thank you for noticing and pointing it out to me. And let me know if that's better. I think that should be better. Okay, continuing onward. Something like that. I think that wants to be a little bit behind this one. And if it ain't broke, don't fix it. This isn't a design exercise. Let's just keep rolling. So something like that. And I think we want to bring this guy down. And we've kind of lost those little towers, but I think that's okay right now because what we're going to do think that. I mean, I'm not looking at this so much as composition as for everything else. This was just snapped on an iPhone when I was, not an iPhone, the Pixel or whatever, just a smartphone while I was walking. I am just kind of looking at it because it's a nice, it's kind of like getting to see like a free set of ideas from somebody else. Namely, histories and histories of, you know, Venetians, which is kind of rock on. Those don't really match anyways. Which one do I like the best here? I think this is the one. I think what we'll do is we'll place it right in the spots that they are. Those we can instance, and we'll just pop them over, and I think they'll go up a little bit. I think let's make this all a little bit grander. All right, because there's like there's a crazy kind of scale change in this building that's well beyond everything. We have a little building sticking out there. We can tweak that a bit later. I'm not going to look for a better one. I'm not going to deal with any boats in 3D. All right, we got this scene roughed out. Okay, now let's see if we can't get some like rough direction. Let's see what this looks like rendered. Okay. I feel like this was from back when I did product shots for this, back whenever. Long time ago, but we don't want an alpha environment. Let's see the sky. That should update that, and then we definitely want to do a couple of things really quickly. We're going to make this bigger. Since F-Storm does not have any kind of infinity plane, we're going to do something like that. And we're going to turn on some atmosphere. You know, I don't think I'm going to mess with the lighting too much because there's going to be a lot of fog in this, and I'm thinking that that'll be easier to paint. This is like a pretty soft, there's a little bit of directionality to the light, right? Like these faces are a little bit brighter than the ones facing towards the camera. So we kind of have a bit of light coming from the right, but it's really soft. There's no hard shadows. And I think I like that. That feels very Venetian to me. So if that's the case, the actual sky that we're using is not going to matter too much. Because we're going to fog this thing up and then we're going to paint. So what sky do we have in here? 1725. Let's just move it so that it's kind of coming from more or less, let's go 0.4, something like that feels about right. And let's get atmosphere on and start tweaking that. Okay. Forgot to change the view and lock the viewport. Well, those colors are ugly, but that's all right. Let's get this tweaked. So first, let's not worry about absorption at all. Let's take the color out of scattering. Do something like that. The distance, first I'm going to make it really short. I feel like it's generally like a low-lying hardness. So this is obviously way too overdone, but as opposed to measuring anything, I'm going to see how low, where the tops of these buildings sit. So that's like 200 inches. 600 I think will take us up over the camera. We just start to see the top of things. So I think I'm going to go with, let's go with 900 for now. Something like that. And then maybe we do something like 500 for this. No. You were way off, Michael. Okay, we need to go higher. We need to go higher on both values. Oops. This is always a bit of a guessing game. But such is life. There we go. Now it at least is starting to feel like you can't see anything. Oh, Clark, that's a good one. I haven't used that in forever. And it's one I wish I'd remembered because I hate making the scene like massive for navigating around. And do it. Let's get that going now. Where is it? I don't think I've ever used it in F-Storm. F-Storm object properties? Render multiplier. Oh wait, I don't think this is how I did it at all. I need more info, Clark. What I first thought that was is not what I now realize it is. Where's render multiplier? Oh, I love learning new things. Come on, give me something. Render multiplier. I'm just gonna guess at some things until I get a better answer from you. Why is this all working funny? Down, yeah. I'm trying to figure out why this won't scroll. Oh, son of a bitch. I usually have my Cintiq turned off when I'm working in 3D, and right now I don't. And I don't see render multiplier. Do I have to have it on the edit poly, potentially? Or is it sitting right in the middle of things? Dun, 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 dun. Might need to look into this later, but I like this idea. Let's just try really quickly. Change it to editable poly and see if it's hiding in it there. Oh, what are you doing, computer? Right at the bottom of the main plane. Oh. I'm really learning something new today. Okay. Beneath. So we didn't want to change it to an edit poly. Real world. Oh, fucking hell. Yeah, man. That's completely new to me. So now we can do something like this that just covers our scene. Dude. Hell yes. Thank you, Clark. Righto. And now we've hidden anything that would be doing in a whole bunch of fog. But if this whole image and little experiment today comes out like shit, I'm still going to be pretty happy about the day because that's such a pain in the ass. Hell yes. Okay, so we're just going to keep adjusting this. 20,000, we're going to go up to 4,500. I'm not worried too much about color. I might tweak it just a little bit in this, but what I really want to do is get kind of like the general shapes a little bit more defined. What's our gamma sitting at here? I think we can make this a bit brighter. Alrighty. So we just changed the gamma on that guy. Let's pull our exposure back down. Something kind of like that maybe. Let's put just a little bit of noise into the bump of the water so that we're not breaking up. We have some broken reflections already to start. Oh, come on. This whole having the Cintiq on is really a pain in the ass. All right, F-storm noise. Let's see what that gives us just from a get-go. Probably want it a bit more heavy than that. Break me some reflections. Not so crazy, Mike. That might do it. For the purposes of this exercise. And now let's maybe give it a little bit of a color. I feel like we do want like a little bit of like those like bluish colors, and then we'll bring in a little bit of warmth in the lights. How are we doing on time this far? Half an hour in, not even. We started at what, 1:10, so we still have 40 minutes, and we got kind of like a rough idea of a sketch. I feel like I want to move this down just a little bit more inside of the image again. Something, maybe just a little bit. Pull it in just a little bit so that we have a little bit more of like a foreground, midground, background type of situation. And here the subject's kind of the background. Something like this. And let's maybe grab some of these guys and pull them over here and give us a little bit of something in the distance on this side, which will make things feel, give the illusion of it being just a little bit more real. Something like we'll put it there and then drop it. Boop-a-doo, something like that. Maybe this guy gets a little friend way off in the distance. Something like that. And do we want... I mean, here, I think that's... I forget the name of that island. I don't think we need to actually add something there, but I think what we might want to do, last thing, take this guy and copy him somewhere over here. Pull him down into Zavata. And do we have any flat roofs in this? Anything that has a flat roof. I don't know if we have anything that has a flat roof with any meaning to it. But something like that could look like something cool. It's going to be pretty blurred and we can paint over it. But just something for that to sit on. Vada. Righto, and actually maybe we'll leave that little spire there. It's Venice. There's spires everywhere. I can't get enough of these things. Let's maybe take this guy and, you know, keep kind of populating in a few different things. Over here. Oops. This guy needs to go to the active layer. Hide all of that. Boop. And let's take this guy. Maybe he will live somewhere way back. Maybe it'll fill that little gap. Oh, that'll be good. And then we'll put another one somewhere over here so that it's not as lonely over in that area. Something like that. Maybe this occludes that just a little bit. Just a schmidgy. Okay, let's see what we're at. Where did that window go? And let's do a quick save. Because we haven't saved anything else yet. Alright. I'm already having fun with this one. This is a fun little exercise. And then I think I'm going to adjust either where this building is or where the sun is. I want that to come out. But okay, let's see. How does this change? And I'm presuming that I set it up. Yeah, there we go. Okay, that's all ugly, but we can paint all that. We can add red to the roofs later. What we will do... Yeah, we're going to try and paint the gondolas. Don't know how that's going to turn out, but we're going to try it. What we are going to do really quickly is why don't we just grab that main roof material and just make it red. Kind of like that slightly warm, slightly dark, Venetian-ish red. Let's see what happens there. Oops. Turn that way down. We should still get some noise and stuff in there just from the bump map and everything else. And this should feel like entirely painted by the end of all this. Oops, that's too much. Okay, something like that maybe. And maybe I think we'll go darker. Don't want them to jump quite that much, not quite, somewhere halfway in between that adjustment. Boom, that's done. We're not going to adjust it anymore. And then we are just going to take the green of these roofs and make that blue. And that one we're going to do with color correction so that we keep a little bit of whatever's cool happening there. Oh, dear God. Okay, and I never remember if it's up or down to get warmer or cooler. Paused. And I think it's going to be down. Or not. Give me blue. Fuck it. We'll just tint it. More blue, less green. And I think we want it to be a little bit lighter. Okay. I'm going to say that's it for tweaking. I can already feel myself spending too much time on that. But I am going to take these guys and these guys and just move them, just because I don't like that this is casting a shadow onto that. And so I want to keep them in more or less the same relative place to one another. Maybe what I want to do, and this is not at all accurate to that part of Venice or the actual church, but hey, I'm not trying to recreate it. Santa Maria della Salute will hopefully forgive me. All right, and then I think we're like done. And I think if I was really trying to, well, we have some, I'm not going to change any render elements. I think if I was really trying to make something beautiful here, I would go through and, I would go through and probably set up render elements to help me paint, but not today. Not today. We're just going to go a little bit more contrasty with the sun. Oh, that's way too far. I thought that could look cool. It doesn't. All right. Well, I feel like I am nitpicking at this point, which means we render and then we paint. Okay, so this is rendering relatively quickly. Right now we're at like 1600. Let's do it at like 3000. 3000? Yeah, 3000. We're going to paint over the whole thing anyways. Actually, so yeah. We're going to paint over the whole thing. Hopefully this will feel more painted than rendered by the end of this. This is super bright. We're going to darken it in post. Okay. Oh, thank you, Nitin. Good to see you, bud. Yeah, we're gonna need to paint some things coming out. Okay. I'm locking the render. This is so you can see, like, we got to here in about 30 minutes, and we could. There's actually not like a ton of 3D to do. We'd want to delete some of these awnings. We'd want to put some docks in. Right, the docks might give me a problem in the painting, but I want it to feel loose. And the docks, if I actually wanted to have like docks and gondolas and boats, those would definitely take me a while in 3D as well. Not like a ton of time, especially if I could find some assets, but I'd have to look for them, place them, etc., etc., etc. So I'm going to see what I can do in the remaining time that we have, about 30 minutes or so, painting over this. So, like, there's a lot of things, like the reflection on this roof doesn't feel right, especially not for the color or the feeling that I want. We kind of have a sharp shadow here that I want to be looser. I could sit and pick the little things that I would change if I was actually trying to render out a full image, and I could do it for forever probably. But that's okay. I think that we have enough here. I think if I had spent 30 minutes trying to paint this, I would still be trying to figure out perspective, because it's kind of a complex perspective, right? These buildings are not straight. We'll probably actually warp them a little bit more in post or in painting. But we got a lot of data out of 30 minutes, and now we can go and just play for another 30 minutes and see what we end up with. Yeah, all right. This is plenty noise free for our purposes. Okay, and we'll just call it raw. And we're saving these things as JPEGs. Got to commit to it being quick and rough. Okay, and that's going again. So let's close that, and we'll save that. And we got to get Cintiq ready for action. I don't like any of the arm options that are currently available for the Cintiq. All I want is a stand that holds it more vertical than what it is without it taking up all of my desk space. It doesn't feel like it's too much to ask, but apparently it is. So, my Akira books continue to help me out. If you guys haven't read all 6 of the original Akira books, and you've only seen the film, you gotta read the rest of the books, because that's just like, there's so much more that happens. It's amazing. I'm not gonna get into it specifically, but it's freaking rad. Okay. Cintiq is open. Clean off whatever the hell is on there. This we saved, so let's just close that down. Let's find... Let's see, let's get Photoshop open. Let's get Photoshop open on the screen that I can draw on. Let's get you guys seeing that one. I opened up, you know, some music to throw on at the beginning of this. See, this is already opened, and, you know, I forgot to turn that on. So let's turn on some tunes for painting. Okay, turn them down in my headphones, but you guys should be able to hear that, hopefully. A little bit of something. And let's see here. File scripts. Load files into stack. Browse. Recent. Venice painting. Raw. Clark, if I could put on some ODB right now, I absolutely would. Alright, load those guys up. Let's get my amazing fashion statement on here. Alright. We got our painting. We don't need this guy. Close tab group. Okay. And let's see. We didn't get any depth. We got at least something that we could select some things with. I don't know if we're going to use them at all. But let's get started. And let's also open up. There we go. Navigator window for me. Okay. I was going to say, I've been listening. Me and my buddies were having a chat the other day, and we brought up some, like, the songs that we loved listening to, like, on road trips back, like, 10, 15, 20 years ago. And so we were rocking out to some, like, old De La Soul with Redman, bunch of old Wu-Tang. That stuff's the best. I get a kick out of that. Alright, so, let's make a couple of changes here real quick. First thing, I feel like this whole thing got bright without my knowings. So let's darken it down. Okay. We're gonna put some highlights into the... We're gonna put a little bit of warmth into the highlights, but we don't really have highlights in here yet. I think we just start painting. Okay, let's pick a brush that we think will be good for this. Okay, so we're not gonna really paint any clouds in, but let's go ahead and, you know what, we're gonna open up our... there we go. We're just gonna keep this up there, so that we're not constantly having to open it. And we're gonna try to do, one of the things that I have noticed with myself when I'm doing this kind of thing is that, like, these first brush strokes are kind of the hardest, right? Because they're so incredibly out of place for the whole image. And so I think what I need to get, like, one of the things I need to get a little bit better at is just kind of like, okay, you just gotta jump in there, start making your rendering rough. If the goal is to paint it, you can't waste time. You gotta get past that kind of like quick phase of like, oh, these look like so out of place. Well, those are brush strokes on top of something that has no other brush strokes. Of course it doesn't look right. But it'll look okay once we get some more. So let's just keep kind of going in, and I'm kind of doing things that I think need to be done, and I'm kind of just trying to get myself going here. Alright, that got a little bit too bright. And let's start painting over kind of all of this. I don't think... One of the nice things about painting over all of these is that, especially here, I'm just trying to kind of rough everything up. and move it generally in the direction that I have in mind for it. One of the nice things is that I'm not painting with full opacity, right? And so there's like a hint of detail that's going to come in there. Which if you watch a lot of like concept artists, you start seeing that like they'll quickly lay in just like some really loose texture overlays and stuff like that, just to kind of give a sense of materiality. And usually it's just like a hint, and we don't have to worry about that because it's already there. That's a freebie. And if you have decent UVs at all, then it's already gonna wrap the object and fit in the right place, and you don't have to do any perspective. Adjusting textures to fit perspective is the worst, absolute worst. Let's take that color a little bit. Let's bring a little bit of it in here. I think we will bring some like bright little highlights of color into some of those, but not yet. Let's kind of give like the suggestion of something back here. Not quite that heavy. Let's get a little bit of that color. Get something kind of. I want a little bit of texture in the sky, even though like on an overcast day you don't really get much, but we're still gonna have a little bit of definition in here, a little bit of something, kind of helping to shape the composition. Okay, and we are gonna have to get to doing oops. You shouldn't take. Let's just kind of get rid of that idea. Kind of start to give just like the hint of an idea of oh, that's terrible. Just a hint of an idea of water, right? Like the more painterly kind of strokey stuff. Again, just trying to get like everything messed up to some degree. And we'll paint some things back in later. Okay, so the monkey in the elephant in the room is definitely the fact that I need to like draw and paint some suggestion of something in this water. Okay, let's just get it over with. Nice and dark. I think we're going to want them coming out this way. I'm going to pick a brush with a little bit of a harder edge. Alright. Let's look actually a little bit of reference. Oh, that doesn't help us at all. We picked a higher perspective than that camera is, so oh well. We don't get one. That's okay. Keep moving forward. Alright, and then we're going to have some coming out here. I'm just kind of trying to pick it with a black that kind of fits, right? Kind of want that to come out a decent amount. And then we're going to need to start kind of painting a little bit of those the piers in Venice are all wood, or all the historical ones, which is most of them, and so there are a lot of them. We need to paint a whole bunch of hints of them. All right, we don't have any boats in there. What time is it? We've got 20 more minutes. We're gonna leave the boats alone right now and keep. If I don't get to the boats, my life can be okay. All right, so there's a hint of something there. We'll fix them up later. Let's get something in the shadows over here. Okay, I need to feel like just trying to feel out what the perspective would be for these guys. Something like that. Maybe something here. Something like that. Okay, we got something, right? It's not great, but like it could have came out worse. That's always a good feeling. I'm trying not to draw them all straight up and down, but they kind of all are. Whatever. I don't think it matters. For this, we're just trying to give a hint, a suggestion that there are things in the water. That one doesn't feel right. That one feels like it needs to come down a little bit more. Okay. Let's fix that guy up a little bit. We're going to throw like some little hints in there, but let's kind of keep taking care of some of these spots that are kind of starting to jump out at me. I think that could be something brightish. Alright, let's get, I feel like start to get some hints of color, some brighter color onto kind of these main domes here. Alright. Oh, Tassos, we started with 3D for this one. Yeah, thank you for joining us. And yeah, so we started with 3D. We started with an idea. This is like a church in Venice, right? Santa Maria della Salute. It's my favorite like church in Venice. I think it's just gorgeous. It has these like kind of beautiful blue domes that I think I'll probably spend some time trying to get the color right with. Well, I don't know if I'm gonna have time to. At least they'll have like the hint of blue. And but so I started basically with where's the picture? This is a picture I took from one of the three bridges, the Ponte della Accademia, I think. One of the three bridges that goes over the Grand Canal, and this is my favorite like building in Venice. Santa Maria del Salute. We didn't do any sketching initially. We just hopped right into 3D and the Kit Bash Victorian kit, and kind of roughed out this composition that looked like this. And now we're painting. And so far we're like this, and we've been painting for like 15 minutes or so. Yeah, I had no idea. Well, A, I'm not really incredible, but thank you. That's very kind of you. But B, that was not at all what I was thinking of when you said that. I thought it was a different trick, and I haven't used it since my V-Ray days. When they had an Infinity plane, but I didn't always use it. So I appreciate that, and I will be continuing to use that probably on every sketch that I do from here on out. At least for the ones where the ground isn't cut into at all. Oops, I don't like that color. Let's blend that away. Let's paint some of this away. Let the shadows kind of merge. There we go. Into the light there. Window. I'd love to know. I know that I'm pretty obsessed with like the 2D stuff right now, more than the 3D. This I'm really excited about because I feel like it uses 3D to help me with the part of 2D that I'm worst at. And it's like, this is about as far as I was hoping to get today in this little exercise. I've never really worked quite this way. Like, I've done a lot of paintovers, and I do a lot of paintovers on my work, but usually I switch to black and white because I'm usually trying to figure out compositional problems. And I never really do them as sketches, but this is like a really quick way to get the hard stuff, for me at least, the hard stuff and the time-consuming stuff figured out, and then gets me like right to like my favorite part of like the 2D part of things, which is like making something that suggests what I'm thinking about. And I think we're gonna forego any boats today. At least I would not be surprised if I spend more time on this after the stream, because I'm having a lot of fun. But we've got 10 more minutes. I think we're gonna just try to kind of keep, I want a little bit more of like warmth in the light. There's a few things I'd like to get in here that are more important than you guys getting to watch me embarrass myself trying to paint a gondola. But I'd love to know what you guys think of this process. This is fun. Okay, so let's go and do a couple of things here. I feel like we want, let's go. There we go. These are all kind of slanted, right? I feel like these ones feel flat. These ones feel like they're falling into the water. Let's fix that. Okay. Starting to feel a little bit better. You don't have to worry too much about these. Just do a little bit. Just a little something. And then if those are the shadows, we want to get some heavier darks down here at the bottom so that those all kind of disappear into it, because they would theoretically match. Okay. Those are just a little bit dark. Kind of paint some of those out. And then I'd like to let's get a little bit of softness. And this is just a merged, blurred screen layer that I'm going to colorize. I want like a little bit of like a warm tone kind of coming through in some of the highlights off from the right. So let's kind of paint them in just a little bit. Now it's looking a little bit green, but we can tone this back afterwards. Give us just a bit of color variation in there. Maybe the highlights need to come up maybe just a little bit more contrast overall. Not too much though, like this would be a pretty low contrast image. Okay, that feels too bright to me. But we'll go back and let's keep painting. Okay. And let's flip it. Actually, what we'll do is we'll paint in just a little darkness so I don't completely muddy that second. Oops. What? Yeah. Get a little bit more darkness kind of in this corner, and we can bring some of that into the water. What else we'll do, grab our little kind of roughly selected domes here. Pretty selections. And we don't need to do the top ones. And let's maybe saturate them a little bit. And let's see if we can kind of nail that bluish hue. Well, okay, maybe not nail, but we got something. And then let's clean them up a little bit. Let's just kind of blend some of these colors together, make them all a little bit smoother, get a little bit more kind of splashes of color in there. Turn that up, there we go. Okay. Let's bring that back, let's bring that back. Okay. And a little bit darker. Alright, just a little bit more. We're adding just like a little bit more contrast to some of these things that'll make them pop just a little bit more. Alright. Especially like I'm looking at I'm making these changes and I'm like glancing up at like what they look like overall. And I'm liking them. But yeah, if you're doing work at all like this, or really anytime I'm working in Photoshop, even if I'm not painting so much as like editing an image, I usually have a navigator window open on a second screen. One thing is that like these colors between the two monitors aren't exactly identical, and it'll kind of help to pull out like little things that I'm missing. Even though it's kind of a hack because they should match, but I feel like I only need to really bother calibrating one monitor because I don't enjoy doing it. But also the bigger thing is just like seeing what the effect is of these changes. Like if I go in here like this and I put in like a little thing and it looks good, if it doesn't look good or read up there, it doesn't really matter, right? So sometimes it is easier to zoom in to work. I try not to zoom in too much, especially at the beginning of things. But I'm always, even when I am zoomed in, I'm trying to kind of keep an eye on the image as a whole. And I think maybe we want to try to get a little bit of, what time is it? 2:06. I said we started at 1:10. I don't know if that's true or not, but I'm gonna give myself 4 more minutes. I wonder if we want to try to get a little bit of a hint of that green in the water. Right, the canals in Venice are very, very green. Oh. Just kind of a very, oops, that was the wrong use of the tool. That's a minus. And I don't want this to be like super green, but I wonder if we give it just a little tiny hint. What I am going to do is I'm going to grab that color. I like that color. Come on. Okay. So I might put a couple little specks of that bright color in there. And then let's just tone this way down so we just have a little bit of it. Ooh, I like that. And then in this guy, we are just going to paint these edges out a little bit. Right. Just so they're not perfectly clean. Same with over here. Okay. And then let's just paint that up here. Oh, not there. I'm gonna paint that up there so I have it. Maybe just add like some little boop-a-doops. Not quite that bright, just some little hints of color here and there. Give us a little bit more kind of variation in here. Just to kind of bring some of these colors alive just a little bit, maybe. Some blues. That was too bright. Okay, let's just keep kind of painting. All right. This came out better than I thought it was going to, folks. That's always a pleasant surprise. What time is it? 2:08. 2 minutes to spare. I think we're just gonna. No, we're gonna do. I can't. I'm a sucker for noodling. We have 2 minutes to noodle. I'm just gonna do one little thing, which is. Let's just give this a little bit more shape. Just a smidgy. Alright, so let's just darken that down just a little bit. Give a little bit more of that shadow color in there. Maybe we get a little bit of detail. A hint of detail. Definitely not actual detail. Well, I think that was worth it. Last little bit of noodles. Alright. Fun day. Good lunch break, huh? I'm happy with that. Did the green get overdone just a little bit? I feel like the green got overdone just a little tiny bitsies. There we go. That's the ticket. I'm gonna call that a fun little half an hour or an hour. Thank you, Clark. I gotta be a little bit honest. I'm kind of as surprised as you are, especially given that people were watching, because that generally slows me down a decent amount. Or maybe the live streams are just kind of, kicking in, and I'm finally getting used to you guys sitting here watching me make mistakes and occasionally look like an idiot. Who knows? But I'm quite pleased with it. Oh, wait a sec. That's not what the layer I was supposed to be painting on. Oh well, that's gonna stay there. I just wanted to paint in a little bit of brightness into like that roof. Maybe this guy, clean that up just a little bit. That could be tidied up. It could all be tidied up. Let's be 100% honest here. But yeah, so from that guy, we did that in about a half an hour of just quickly kind of bashing together the kit bash through the Victorian kit. And then another half an hour painting, and we had something like that. Good day. I mean, Clark, you're not really a stalker when you're in the chat letting me know that you're watching me. Like, the stalker, the people that haven't commented in the chat and I don't know that they're the stalkers. And I think I know at least one of them, but he's a buddy of mine, so I'm kind of okay. And then he admits that he does it elsewhere. But, alright guys, this was a fun one. Kind of unplanned. Or very unplanned. I thought of this like an hour or half an hour to an hour before we started this. But it was fun, and we're probably going to do this again because this, I feel like, is a super powerful tool. I don't think I could have gotten here in 3D in an hour, or I know I couldn't have, as far as like the overall like feel and mood goes. And if I was painting, I know I couldn't get like any amount of like this like actual form in an hour. So yeah, 1 + 1 = 3, I think, in this situation. Jamie, good to see you, man. Well, alrighty, folks. We got some cool stuff coming up this week. I can't talk about some of it still, but I will tomorrow, I think. So stay tuned for that. And what was the other thing? Oh, on Thursday, we're going to have Patrick from Alt Shift back. He's going to teach me some tie flow, which I'm super excited about. Super duper excited about. So, yeah, it's going to be awesome. And then what else do we have? A lot of you guys are sending in images for paintovers, especially those of you that competed in Fabio's competition. That is awesome. Thank you for that. So Friday is going to be some. We're going to be painting over some Macintosh images. I think is the plan, or maybe some of the Lancia ones. I think have come in. I don't know. It'll be fun. But yeah, until this time tomorrow, 1 o'clock tomorrow, I hope you guys have a great rest of your Monday, that your weeks are getting off to a good start, and that you're staying positive and somehow productive. Thank you for tuning in and joining me. And yeah, we'll see you again soon. Later, dudes. And now that awkward phase. There's always going to be that awkward phase. I'm never going to think of doing this. And you got to press 2 buttons. You got to go boop, and then there's a second one, and then you just go